Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there, welcome back.
Okay, guys, so in this morning's mantra and meditation session, Cindy got so much download, she filled three big whiteboards with them. And one of the boards is, I think it's 3 feet by 4 feet, and the other two are like 2 feet by 3 feet. And she didn't get all of it down. So we're going to share what she got.
So, I want to say usually during mantras, someone comes to visit. The other day it was Ganesh. Today it was Lakshmi. And it was also Lilith. But Lilith, we are not ready for her information yet. But she is around and she is speaking about things. But Lakshmi came through really strong. And I asked her, what do you want us to talk about? What do you want us to, bring to light? And she wants to talk about, first of all, who she is. She's the goddess of abundance, but we have to ask, okay, what kind of abundance? And in her world, it is abundance of spirituality. And in this world, that might look like an abundance of things. But in Lakshmi's realm, it's spirituality. It's having spiritual grit. It's having wisdom. It's having knowledge and understanding. So she wanted to talk about where we're at now and the transition toward that. And what is it going to look like? And I asked her, I said, I need an example here. And she says, well, take your very own mala beads, for example. She said, you have those in your hand and you do mantras and you express this energy and you use those beads to help you count. And the reason you use the beads to help you count is because the inner cosmos and outer cosmos need to make this connection for you to find out who you are spiritually. We're not at a place where we can tangibly make that connection. So like we don't know when we get to 108, we don't know if we've made the full connection. So just to be sure, in this time, in this 3D realm, we use mala beads, 108 mala beads, to make sure we've made that connection. Because outside of us, there is 108 chakras, or you can call them 108 energy points. And inside of us is the same, 108. So it's about making that connection with the universe. And how that's going to change. We will come to a point where we'll be able to count that 108 without the mala beads. We will simply feel ourselves lock into the planet. We'll feel ourselves lock into the universe. So we can do away with the mala beads. And that would be great. Even though I love my mala beads, I've really done a lot to try to take care of them. They're very important to me. But anyway, other things, we're going to see certain things that we use now are going to fade away due to our ability to understand how to regenerate ourselves. So we have things in the 3D. We have like wheelchairs, we have crutches, we have medicines that we take. But we're going to realize in our mind that through certain interactions with the brain and chemical releasing, we can create all of that rejuvenation ourself. That's something that we will learn. So we can do away with all those 3D things too. So I don't know if I'm explaining this right, because I would really like Mike to chime in, because I get so nervous as soon as I know I'm being recorded. I freak out.
No, I mean, just flow with it, because again, these are messages that come through you. And I was doing my mantras and getting totally different things, not in opposition, just about totally different subjects, maybe a little bit more like us, like what are we to do next personally on a different level. And I just can tell when I look over, she's just like, it's like she's taking dictation. It's like she's, handwriting down, but she wasn't at the moment writing all of it down on the blackboards, but I could see it's all going into mental notes as she's listening to something coming through from somebody. And this is the way it goes. Now, I've had times myself where I've gotten it through writing, and actually I've been told that I should do it through the writing, to which, I have a lot to improve on because again, I just don't get to it with all the things that are going on. And that's really bad on me because that's my way of channeling is really through the writing, because things will come through me so fast that I'll get clarity. So as we're saying this and she handed the mic to me, I'm recognizing again that's something I got to prioritize today. So when we go to bed, I'm going to allow time to just let things come and write down what comes, because that's going to be my dictation from my higher self. So these are the type of things that we get aware of. And when we talk about energy exchange, like we had somebody that felt very, very entrapping, purposefully entrapping, reach out about getting a session. And then we basically gave them the information and all. And then they said, well, if it's a donation, then that means it's optional, right? And, we say donation because we don't want to put a limit on something or a minimum on something because everybody's different. Some people that may want a session literally, and many are on fixed incomes where it's their Social Security, it's Medicaid, Medicare, Medicaid, it's disability. And then others, well, they might make $500,000 a year. They might have totally different economic situations going on. So we don't want to make it so somebody we're going to be unaffordable for some or what have you for the others. It's just when you look at the bigger scheme of things will average out to a certain level. But at the same time, the guides have said don't undervalue yourself, because we've done this and we've, basically took on so much work that we were digging our own graves because we were getting exhausted and not being able to recover because we were talking to just so many people and taking on their energies because we are energy workers. And so what happens is, as we're working on people, even if it's just for spiritual coaching, we're taking on their energies. We're clearing off energies. And if it is like we know our limit in a day, we can push 6 people, but it definitely takes from us, and we're pretty shot after 6 people. And really, we're better served with like 4 people. But then, in this world, we do have bills, as everybody does. So what do you do? But, that person was basically... that person felt very, very entrapping purposefully. And, I asked Cindy, can you see where they're at? Oh, clean cut, behind a desk. They do have personal issues. They could use our services, but no, this is basically probably an alphabet soup type of situation, just trying to entrap us. So, this is par for the course. But in the future, there needs to be an energy exchange, because if you're completely doing something for somebody with nothing in return, it creates a karmic gap and a karmic loop that could be very, very detrimental.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, there has to be energy exchange. Mike and I, we do put a lot of time into our practice, and we do that to become good healers. So it's not like it's free for us too. We take the time to do the mantras. We take the time to do the meditations. We eat really good food. We detox regularly. So it's an ongoing process. It's like we don't get this for free. We work through it, because that's part of who we are. That's part of us, and that's part of the energy that we offer. But yes, things are going to change. How we perceive energy is going to change quite a lot. She did want me to express to everyone to enjoy the things that you have now. Don't be so caught up in getting into 5D that you totally miss the whole train ride. Look around your world and enjoy what you have now, that this process is a very natural process. It's nothing that needs to be rushed or hurried, because she reminds me to remind you guys, we are human beings, not human doings. So we don't have to rush around and force these things to happen. She says in time, things will definitely change. She said our homes, they'll become more earthen. So we'll have more of the earth to surround us, doing away with a lot of the plastic processed stuff. That's just going to come naturally to those of us on this specific timeline that I'm looking at right now. She said people will become closer into nature. She is pointing towards Cinderella. This is really cute. She says everyone remembers Cinderella. The birds around her, the mice are around her. There comes to be a time when the frequency, we are all moving closer together in frequency. So therefore, the animals read us and we read the animals, and we revert back into that telepathy. So we're going to lose a lot of things where we have to look at a book and read it. We don't have to do that anymore. So we do away with the books. We do away with the pens, pencils, papers. All of this is going to change. And I'm hoping that giving a good representation of how she's telling me perception of energy will change. It's not that everything just poofs and disappears. She said it all just simply transforms. And she said this can take lifetimes. It's not like this is going to happen in a few years in your lifetime. So she points me back to enjoy being in the now, because this is actually the best path to take.
Can I say something
Please.
really quick? Yeah, so that's one of the things too, like when we talk about the solar flashes coming and all these things, there are things that are right ahead of us that are going to be very scary. It's obvious. But there's other stuff that, while it might happen, it's still a long ways out. There's a lot to this process. And, we might be one of the last generations of Homo sapiens, but we're not going to be the last generation of humanoid beings on the planet. So, again, things will go on, and there will be a splitting of energies. And it might be to the point, really, we do not even see each other, even though we're occupying the same space, just as is the situation now with certain beings that are on the planet in what we might call fifth density. We can't see them. You might get the feeling of something going by you. You might even catch a little bit of a sparkle or a twinkle, but that's about it. It's going to be the same thing. You're that sparkle, you're that twinkle to others that can't perceive you. So it is a slower process than most people realize. I mean, although obviously there's certain things that are coming down the road very shortly for us to get through. And without going, further and deeper into that, because we're going to keep this on the positive and the light, want to just focus more on that whole concept of thinking about things in different ways. Because we've become so used to a certain system, so indoctrinated in a certain system, that a lot of times you can't conceive of different ways of being. And again, to maybe the Native Americans that were living here when the Europeans came, their automatic thing was to show them furs, maybe, or beautiful shells, or wonderful pieces of vegetables and fruits and stuff. And like, I got this, what do you have? Barter and trade is just a natural thing. And the barter and trade, again, can be skills. I can't sew. I mean, I've never taken the time to sew or knit or crochet, so somebody else might have those skills, but you might be, great with gardening, or somebody else is great with construction. We've touched on what Cindy had said before about how we'll desire to be in earthen structures that are in harmony with the land. When we see so many people, we might think of them as living in the quote unquote Stone Age, but is Stone Age a bad thing? Does Stone Age mean backwards? No, this society is backwards because it's not in harmony with the natural way of the earth and the natural way of living in a symbiotic relationship when you know you're part of the whole. We're living in a way that's destructive to the whole. It's definitely an insane culture that we find ourselves in. And when we were living in the cabin, which was all, basically earthen and partially under the ground, the vibrations, the frequency was wonderful. That was the place in New Mexico that we rented for like 9 months. I constantly think back to the meditations there and how good they were. And that could be had in other areas too, because we do know also FIVEG can't penetrate through earthen structures. So, that's another way to kind of secure ourselves away from the harmful and destructive frequencies.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And the estrogens, because I was saying that too, thinking, why are we all surrounded in plastics? Well, because it's all about disrupting our hormones and disrupting our health.
Right. Because our body, we all respond to hormones. It's one big conversation. And if you put things, in the way of that conversation, well, things are going to start to break down a little bit. There's going to become a time, we were talking about wildlife, how humans and wildlife, that's going to become more of a conversation, and plants. Everything is going to be able to hear, see, listen to each other to a whole nother level. She was wanting to talk about the return to a love that is very, very innocent, a love that you might have for your children, a love that you might have for your pets, and just holding that source energy in your heart and allowing that to just lift you up and raise you up. She says, again, there's no forcing this. This is something where the fruit ripens. It just happens. It's nothing to be forced, but to be savored and enjoyed, she said. It's quite a path. Let me see. She says, please enjoy the fruits of your labor. Enjoy those things you have earned here, now, and today. Do not feel guilty about those items that you might have. And maybe you think, boy, I don't deserve that. I shouldn't have that. She said, enjoy the fruits of your labor. Be in the moment. Be in the present. Things that people might view as hardships, as hindrances in life, suddenly those are turned into very valuable lessons of wisdom for our children. And we change energy perception in that way. So automatically, when something that you think is bad has just happened, it's not going to be that automatic knee-jerk reaction. It's going to be, wow, what did I learn from this? Right away, right from the start. She does really press about, please enjoy your time here on earth and don't deny yourself. Don't deny yourself things from this experience, and work on being. She keeps bringing that up to be a human being, not a human doing. She also is pointing out plants, how they heal, and pets, how they will heal, and how love and it heals. And all of these things are just going to come surrounding and together in a very natural way, returning to that, again, that childlike innocence. So that's what Lakshmi wanted to share today. And I got to tell you, part of it, I have a conversation with her, is an ongoing conversation, and we earn a relationship, and that's how these things work. That's how the channeling happens. It's a blending of the essences, and then they come together and bring you guys this information. So that was this morning's session, and I hope you guys got some good stuff out of it. I hope you enjoyed it. It's all about love, and it's all about rising up and allowing things to change on their own, in their own time.
Absolutely. So hopefully that resonates. So again, even while we're preparing for so many things, we are to enjoy the ride, to set time aside to cultivate that inner peace, the passions that you have, the things that you love to do. That's all part of this ride.
Indeed.
As always, much love, God bless, and namaste.
Namaste.